Catherine Anaya, and welcome to My Home Group TV. In this Ascending Agents episode, I talked to Steve Valentine of Valentine Group. He's a third-generation real estate entrepreneur who credits his father with his shift in his approach to his business.
I put in my time to learn the business. I didn't make as much money. I made good money, but it's not as much as like what we're making now, but we put in a lot of time and a lot of experiences to get where we're at now, and it's not an overnight success.
Steve Valentine knows real estate. He grew up in it. He's a third-generation real estate entrepreneur. Did you know right away that that was what you wanted to do?
No. Like every child that watches what their parents do, they're like, I'm out. So I went into the automotive field when I got out of high school.
He shifted to real estate in 1999 after someone stole all his tools.
I went to my dad, I'm like, okay, can I try the real estate thing? The automotive thing's kind of lame, so.
From the beginning, his parents, both in real estate, were huge influences and teachers.
One of the things they really did to prepare me for the business was the first 2 years in the business, I didn't get any commissions. I was paid a salary, even though I was working with clients and those types of things. And my dad made me sit at the edge of his desk, listening to phone calls, doing busy work so that I could listen and really learn the business. And that was a blessing. That was like my paid internship into the business. And I'm so grateful for that.
Valentine and his wife, Wendy, also a licensed real estate agent, started their business in their garage with one employee. Their rise came with some big challenges.
There was a lot of challenges because when we were partners with my parents, and then we lost everything, and it broke apart the family, it broke apart the relationship with my parents, and Wendy and I were starting over with $1 million worth of debt that we had personally guaranteed from the past, and then we had 2 toddlers. We had just lost our house foreclosure in 2008, and so we were starting over.
I think it strengthened our marriage instead of, a lot of people pull apart when things like that happen, and I definitely think that it strengthened our marriage.
One of the biggest lessons they learned from that was to stay ahead of the market shifts.
And so when I got in '99, and then it was normal, interest rates were 8%, and then it shot up in 2004, and then crashed in 2007, and then lived through all that, and then reinvented myself, later on, just like he did. So it was always moving. It's kind of like we just talked about, who moved my cheese.
Exactly.
So you always got to be ahead of the game and looking for what the next revolution is in the business.
Steve's broker at the time brought him in to do REOs, or foreclosures.
And I didn't have any money, and she asked, do you have $10,000 to start? And I said no, but I figured out how to borrow it from someone. And I think that's where I started to learn that, you say yes and figure it out later. If you had an REO account, that was where the money was being made at the time. It was a lot of work.
2 months into that, Steve broke his neck during a mud run.
We had a 50-50 shot of me being paralyzed when I came out of that surgery. But I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my asset managers. I didn't tell my broker. I was in the hospital working from a laptop, just trying the determination of, I'm not going back down this road. I'm not losing this opportunity.
6 weeks later, Steve was back on his feet and more determined than ever not to squander his current and future opportunities.
So if I worked 20 hours a day, I worked 20 hours a day, but it was whatever it took to build those relationships with those people in order to succeed.
Then he suffered his biggest and most personal challenge yet.
In 2014, December, my dad went in for pneumonia and came out being diagnosed with terminal 4 lung cancer. And that next year I knew was gonna be rough. I didn't know it right then, but when we got into January and he started going through chemo and radiation, and then the cancer started to spread to his brain. And he was running his own brokerage at the time, which was 500 properties that they were managing. My mom was working in the business and working with a lot of investors and doing flips for investors. So there was a lot of stuff going on. And that was just at the time that the REOs started to slow down. So I was getting ready to reinvent again, like what direction am I gonna go now? So I spent 2 days a week running his operation and 3 days a week running my operation. And so I spent all day over there with the staff and those types of things. And I started to realize, like, my dad has a lot of great things going on, but if it was just tweaked a little bit. And so 9 months later, after he was diagnosed, he passed. And I was kind of left holding the bag to help my mom get through the transition, because there was debt, there was things, there was investors. And so my mom and I made an agreement that I would take over the investment side of the business and she would run the property management company. So we have two separate companies. They still manage about 250 homes.
Steve came to realize his dad spent his entire career making a lot of money for people through investments, but died without any investments of his own.
But it really shifted my mindset in the fact that I want to work with investors to where both of us are making money, both of us are building wealth, but I won't work for an investor. I won't let you drag me around. I just can't, because I've seen what happens.
That has led the Valentines to where they are now. With Valentine Group, they still do traditional real estate, but they've also become an investment boutique of handcrafted solutions with a focus on rehabbing, or what they call repurposing homes. Wendy is the designer and general contractor behind that part of the business.
I'm a general contractor. My goal is to go in and find houses that need love and make them loving again. I always say that every house was new at some point. So at some point, somebody got a set of keys for a brand new house and they were so excited to move into that house. And they moved in, they raised a family there, they might have sold it, a second family, maybe a third, fourth, fifth, maybe only 2 families have been raised there. But at some point, just like a car, it gets old. And all of a sudden, people stop loving it because it's not new and shiny anymore. And my goal is to go in and take those houses that need love, that have heard more stories and seen more things than you could ever imagine, and make them new again, and make them so that a new family is proud to live in that and to love the house again.
They've worked together for 20 years, but she finally found her niche 5 years ago with the repurposing and her Boss Lady Red business.
And they can stand back and go, I'm really proud of myself.
It's a change from what most people work with, because you're usually directing a contractor. This is what we want done, here's the budget. Well, when I release a property to Wendy, it's her vision, it's her design. I don't have to be involved in it because she comes from real estate background, she comes from construction background. So it takes the house to a whole new level, not just making something pretty, but making it functional or shifting a few things to make it better.
In the last 5 years, Steve says he and Wendy have gone from owning nothing to owning about 36 single-family homes.
We also started experimenting with a lot of different things and seeing the data and seeing opportunities in how we can help people.
From that wisdom, he created the Limitless Project. Steve calls it a motivational and educational tool to teach agents there's more to the business than just buying and selling.
I really felt very passionate about helping real estate agents understand the difference between real estate income and wealth building and seeing opportunities in the business. And the reality is there's a lot of opportunities that we run into where we can help people solve. And there's so many variables in the real estate equation. And if you really figure out what that buyer or seller is trying to accomplish, then there's limitless possibilities of what can be done in that aspect.
Which all falls under what Steve says Valentine Group has become known for, offering handcrafted solutions or a different approach to real estate.
Where real estate agents seek me out and say, hey, I have this problem, I'm not sure what to do with it, can you solve it? And so then we put all the pieces together for them and we help them be the hero for their client. It's something that we end up making a little bit of money on, but sometimes there's just some weird things that happen that you need somebody creative that's experienced it, and that's kind of where I come in. It's just the experience of, you know, I can look at something from 30,000 feet and go, well, if we move this from here and we do this and we do this, we can solve the problem, and the clients are the win-win at the end of the day, and so is the agent.
Steve considers himself a relationship builder, and that, he says, is what sets him apart.
Everything we do has to do with win-win. If we can make this work for all parties, and it's not commission-based, it's not transaction-based. You know, I know that a lot of the teams operate that way, and a lot of people like, you know, so many transactions, so much income, and we just have a different, I'm more interested in how many handcrafted solutions did we provide this month. It's about building a relationship and helping somebody.
Remember, you can subscribe to My Home Group TV at mhgtv.com, and you can find all of our episodes on the My Home Group YouTube channel. Remember, while you're there, to subscribe, comment, and like. I'm Catherine Anaya. Thanks for watching My Home Group TV. I'll see you next time.